Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you the Aamon Octo. The Aamon Octo is an 8-channel prop controller. It's got an included micro SD card, 2 isolated inputs, an internal 60-watt amplifier with a stereo jack out if you want to use a powered speaker or an external amplifier, our output 0, and then 8 solid-state outputs. Outputs 7 and 8 are capable of PWM for dimming, but that is not available with the button programming. It's got 20 channels of DMX, and then our Abyss bus for accessories or external programmers. Because this is an Aamon series prop controller, it is programmed with the buttons, but if you notice we've only got 4 buttons. So how this controller works is you program 1 through 4 and then you program 5 through 8 separately at different times. The way you do that is we see play 1 here is record 1 through 4 and play 2 is record 5 through 8. So if you have a prop that you want 2 outputs to be going at the same time and you want to program them at the same time, you need to make sure that you group them appropriately 1 through 4 and 5 through 8. Alright, let's jump right into programming. Because this is a solid state controller just like the other Aamon products, the voltage you supply the controller with is what you'll get on the outputs. So we've got a 12 volt power supply right here, and then we've got 12 volt LEDs hooked directly into the outputs. The solid state outputs make it easy to wire things like LEDs or solenoid valves. If you have something like AC voltages or something that's really high current over 1.5 amps, then you will need to use a relay on the outputs, and you can reference the user manuals for that wiring. Additionally, we have 2 speakers plugged in up here and 2 push buttons for the inputs, as well as an output 0. So when we want to go to program, as I said before, you program 1 through 4 and then 5 through 8. So to program 1 through 4, we're going to press and hold the record 1 through 4 button until the light turns red. When we release this, then we're going to hear our sound and we're going to be able to push the buttons to control the outputs. And then we press either of those buttons to stop recording. Now if we trigger input 1, we'll get what we just recorded. And now to record 5 through 8, we're going to press and hold the record 5 through 8 button. Now when we do this, it's going to play back 1 through 4 just as we recorded it. So we're going to press and hold until the LED turns red. Now when we release these buttons, you can see this one's labeled 1 and 5. This is going to be 5, 6, 7, 8. 5. And then again, either of them to save it. Now when you're recording these, it will always take the length of the last recorded animation. So if your 5 through 8 is shorter than your 1 through 4, when you're recording 5 through 8, you need to wait until your previous recording is done or record the shorter sequence first. Now we can play it back with the input and we'll get all 8 outputs. That's how you record all 8 outputs on the Aamon Octo. It is fairly easy, but you do need to know that you only record 4 at a time, so you need to do that grouping we talked about before. If these 2 LEDs I want going at the same time, they need to be in the same group range. If you want to record input 2, we can see button 3 and 7 is labeled input record select. So you're going to press and hold that. As we see, we just got 2 orange flashes. Now if you look, this play 2 button is orange and red. So anytime this LED is orange, that means you're dealing with input 2. So that double orange flash indicated we have just changed to input 2. If we press and hold it again, we'll get 1 yellow flash indicating we're back on input 1. So let's go ahead and change it. And then you're just going to do the same exact sequence as before. You're going to press and hold this. But this time when we're recording, instead of a red LED, we're going to get an orange LED. Now they might look a little similar on camera, but it is obvious to the eye. We get a different sound. And then I just recorded 1 through 4. For that one, it is the same for 5 through 8. Now we can see if we trigger input 2, we'll get an orange LED and our sound and recording. And then of course, input 1 still does input 1. If you want to record the ambient animation, the process is a little different than on the Quadro. Buttons 4/8 is labeled ambient record in DMX record. So we'll go over DMX record later, but just like on the Quadro, you're going to press and hold that until the light turns magenta. But this time you're going to let go, and we're going to get a flashing LED. So this is wanting us to press play 1 or play 2 to select 1 through 4 or 5 through 8. So if we do play 1, we're now going to be recording 1 through 4 on the ambient animation. Now, we have to press play record again to actually start recording, and that'll get us our flashing magenta light. So let's do 2 and 3. 3's down there. And again, either of those will stop the recording. So when the blue LED is done, that's it indicating it's saving. We're going to get flashing green light, and we're going to get our ambient recording. And then, of course, just like our other controllers, triggering that will interrupt the ambient animation. And then when it's done playing, it will go back to the ambient recording. If you need to remove the ambient recording, the easiest way to do that is going to be just to record a very short ambient scene. So it doesn't matter which one we press here. And then we're going to press it one more time to start recording. And then we're going to immediately press it again to stop recording. So just like that, we recorded a very short ambient animation that was less than the minimum number of frames. So it removes the ambient animation. And now we see we just got a solid green light for standby mode. Let's go over some of the configuration options that the Octo offers. The Octo has everything that the Quadro has, and even some of the button combinations are the same, but I'm going to go over some of the more unique ones to the Octo. You can find all the configuration options and their descriptions and how to set them in the user manual. First, let's go over the setting called alternate inputs. What that means is you can have one sensor connected up to input 1 that triggers both inputs. So when input 1 is triggered, it'll play the recording for input 1. Then when input 1 is triggered again, it'll play the recording for input 2. So what that does is that lets you kind of mix up the user experience by showing different animations each time it's activated. So how you set that is you're going to turn off the controller, press and hold, play 2, then turn on the controller and release when the LED flashes red. So now you have turned on alternating inputs. Now if you do that again, you'll turn it off. So it is a toggle. So now if we press the input 1 trigger, we get input 1 and a flashing yellow. But if we hit it again, we'll get the flashing orange indicating we are on input 2. That is how the alternating input setting works. Another useful setting is making the inputs interruptible. So input 1 and input 2 can both be set to be interruptible. And what that means is when input 1 is going and input 2 is activated, it will automatically switch to input 2. Because by default, if we activate input 1, activating input 2 doesn't do anything. So if we want to change that, we can make input 1 interruptible. And that's by turning off the controller, pressing play 2 and button 1, plugging in and releasing when the LED turns red. So now when we activate input 1, pressing input 2 will automatically switch to input 2. And similarly, you can make input 2 interruptible by doing play record and button 2. Finally, for escape rooms, you can put the controller into lock until input 2 mode. So think of an escape room. Input 1 gets activated when a puzzle is solved, and input 2 is set up to clear or reset the game. So we'll do that by play record 2 and button 3. Plug it in and again release when the LED turns red. So now, whenever we activate input 1, our sequence will play. But then we will get a flashing blue light, and this indicates that the controller is locked, and pressing any buttons won't do anything. Input 1 won't do anything. The only thing that will reset the controller is input 2. So we'll press input 2, it'll play, and then the controller will be unlocked or reset. So it's important to note you don't have to have an input 2 recording for that to work. If you just want a regular reset, just hook up input 2, don't record anything, and it will reset the controller. The Octo has the ability to layer the outputs. So you already record 1 through 4 at a time, but if you just want to record a couple of those outputs, you can. So we're going to press and hold this to start recording 1 through 4. But when the LED turns red, we're not going to release. Now, if we press any of these buttons, that will toggle those outputs. So if we press this, we see we just got a red flash, which indicates that we just turned off output 4. So if we release, we'll see output 4 remembers its recording from the previous time we recorded. And inputs 1, 2, 3 do something, but output 4 does not. So that's how you can record just a few outputs at a time, and the controller will remember that for the next time you go to record. So if we go to record, output 4 is still turned off. If we press it again, you see we get a green flash, which indicates it's been turned on and it will now be recording. So if we do that, we see pressing output 4 controls the outputs. The Octo has the ability to record and play back up to 20 DMX channels. And the way you do that is by this RJ45 jack is DMX in and out. We do offer these custom cables for an additional cost. They are not included. What it is an RJ45 port and then male and female 3-pin XLR cables for your DMX lighting network. So let's go ahead and show how to record. This is just hooked up to our RGB light here. Now you can use anything to record. You can use a DMX controller like this, or one that has more channels, or even one that can connect up to your computer where you can use software. We are planning to release some software in the future that will have the ability to program DMX in it. So the way these lights work is this channel is the overall brightness, and then this one is red, green, and blue. So this is configured with a text file on the SD card that tells it what DMX channels to record. I just have it recording 1 through 6. So, as we can see, this is working right now because the Octo is not transmitting anything. It's also not recording anything. To record, we're going to long press buttons 4 and 8. Keep holding past the magenta light until we get this greenish blue light, then we're going to release. Now this is waiting for us to press another button. There are 3 possible DMX scenes: input 1, input 2, and ambient. Now pressing 4-8 will tell it to record DMX ambient. Play 1 will record DMX for input 1. Play 2 will record DMX for input 2. So we're just going to do play 1. Now we hear our sound and you see your outputs, and it's now recording. So if I just give a little bit of red, and then we'll stop recording. Now, once you do that, if you continue to run this, you're going to have problems because you're not supposed to have 2 things transmitting DMX. So I'm just going to turn this off, because now, in fact, I'll even disconnect it. Because now our Octo is going to be transmitting the DMX. Now it's saving because there's a lot of data in the DMX. So it might take a minute, but once that's done saving, we're going to activate input 1. You'll hear our sound. We took out all the outputs, but you'd see your outputs, and you're going to see us turn on the red light. Now I was talking for a second, so it took a little bit, but then our red light's going to come on. And then it's going to stop playing. Recording input 2 DMX is the same. We're going to hook this back up. Turn it back on. Again, we're going to hold this until we get that light. Keep holding. Alright. Let go. Now we're going to press play 2 to tell the controller to record DMX for input 2. And now we're going to give it some blue, green, and red. And then we're going to end recording there. And again, you're going to have to turn this off, disconnect it if you want. But turning it off should just be enough. Alright, once it's done saving, we're going to press input 2. And you see we'll get our new DMX recording. And then input 1 still does our original DMX recording. So that's how you record DMX onto the Octo. So when you plug your SD card into your computer, it'll look like this. You've got the 3 folders: ambient, input 1, and input 2. And just like our other controllers, you're going to put your sound files in here and name them correctly. However, if you want to do DMX, you're going to need to make a couple files. New text document. We're going to name this DMX1.txt in all capital letters. So when we open that DMX1.txt file, it's going to be empty. And how we're going to tell the Octo to listen for channels is we're just going to put the channel number, 1 channel on each line, and then save it. So this will tell the Octo to listen to channels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. DMX channels range from 1 up to 255. And if you need DMX2 or DMX4 input 2, you name that DMX2, and then addresses for DMX ambient can go in DMXAMB.txt. If you're going to use all the same channels for all 3, then you only need dmx1.txt. You only need the 3 separate ones as if input 2 is going to be sending out different DMX addresses and AMB or ambient is going to be sending out different addresses. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy your Octo. We are very excited about this controller. The only thing we didn't cover that's unique to this controller in this video is the Abyss bus. The Abyss bus will be used for future accessories as well as external programmers and even linking Octos together. We will have a separate video on the Abyss bus and a separate user manual, so be sure to watch that. Thank you.